Hello! How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Things You Don't Want to Know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I think it's, but I'll tell you anyways. I keep saying I'm going to tell you anyways, but it's I'll tell you anyways. But yes, welcome back to the episode. One of my favorite segments that I do. I think this is the only segment I do, actually. I'm going to pop some gum in my mouth. Sorry, you're probably going to hear me chewing, but I'm kind of feeling some gum. By the way, if any of y'all like minty stuff, like really minty stuff, and you're on the island, try a crack at this black gum. Normally there's an actual label on it. I peeled it off, but it's called black. Black also has like a hard candy version, but this is the gum version of it. And I have it taped because it was in my bag, and otherwise this would get triggered and it would go all over the place. It is the mintiest gum I've ever had in my entire life. Like, it is super minty. I believe it's a little bit caffeinated as well. So it's a good gum though. Fun fact, a lot of times when you get gum containers like this, they come with little post-it notes in the gum container like that, and it's for spitting out your gum. Isn't that genius? I love that. Like, almost every gum container in Japan comes with little post-it notes to help you spit out your gum. I think that's genius. All right, so guess what? We're doing this episode. I'm so excited, like I said. Today I'm looking at my screen. I have 6 comments that I'm going to be replying to today. Yay. Let's open up some LaCroix. Between the black and the carbonated LaCroix, it's probably really gonna burn. Oh. Ow. Oh my gosh, that's really burny. Whew. See, I love mint. I love anything mint. I am a mint fanatic. During Christmas time, I'll buy those boxes and boxes of cheap candy canes and just have it around the house. I love mint. I love mint. I love peppermint. It's my cup of tea, and I like peppermint tea as well. I love anything mint. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So today I actually wanted to welcome Peach Tora, only because I don't believe I've ever seen you comment before, but hello, well, welcome to the channel. She said, "Hello, I am just here to ask a question for next week," which is today. Do you recommend any language schools out here to learn Japanese? I know during these times it can be hard to find an in-person class, but I just wanted to see if you heard anything about any school, good or bad. Thanks again. I love hearing your views on things. As far as language schools go, I'm not quite sure. I've never had to take it myself, and a lot of people that I know who learned Japanese either just immersed themselves into the Japanese culture, like they found a part-time job or something off base somewhere, or they just, spent a lot of time with their Japanese coworkers, or they hired private tutors. Like my friend Chris, who has learned to speak Japanese, he just made a lot of friends with Japanese people, as well as hired some tutors for Japanese. My mom was his tutor for a very short period of time. She doesn't tutor anymore, but the best recommendation I would say is to look for tutors online. And the best place I think to look for tutors online, especially in Okinawa, would be the Okinawan forums on Facebook. I think it's just called Okinawa, but it has 2 asterisks on it. Okinawa Questions is another one. If you ask people like, hey, I'm trying to learn Japanese, where would you recommend? Who would you recommend? I'm sure you'll get a lot of people recommending stuff to you. That's always a great place to ask. In fact, there was a girl the other day, Japanese girl, who posted on one of the forums offering Japanese one-on-one services. So for me, anytime you have a question or you're looking for something in Okinawa, I always refer people to those forums or groups on the groups on Facebook. If you guys ever need anything, feel free to ask those forums. They're really great bunch of people with great knowledge. So I always refer people to those forums. But personally, myself, I don't know anybody who teaches Japanese. I know a lot of people who teach English to Japanese people, but I don't know anybody specifically who teaches Japanese. Next question or comment From Marvin Miyashiro. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, okay, so this was for the Ohigang video. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think my family celebrated Ohigang. Might not be a thing in Hawaii. By the way, Hawaii also has many holidays that are not celebrated in the rest of US. I'm curious, does your grandfather speak Uchinaguchi? Now, Uchinaguchi is a specific Okinawan dialect. It's the original language of the Ryukyu people. Ryukyu, which is what Okinawa was called prior to Japan taking over. Back in the day, Okinawa was known as the Ryukyu Kingdom, so sometimes if you look at global maps, it'll say Ryukyu Islands instead of just Okinawa. My grandpa does speak Uchinaguchi, especially when his cousins or people his age come over, they do speak Uchinaguchi. Unfortunately, towards my mom's generation, because once Japan took over Okinawa again after the war, Japan actually tried to get rid of Okinawan language altogether because they wanted Okinawans to conform to the Japanese way. So my mom remembers going to high school, and if anybody was caught speaking Uchinaguchi, they would actually get like punished. A lot of people my mom's generation age probably spoke Uchinaguchi at home, but it wasn't really widely spoken during her generation. So like by the time we got to my generation, a lot of people don't even speak it anymore. So it's definitely a dying language. But people my grandpa's generation definitely still speak Uchinaguchi. It's actually kind of cool because sometimes you'll go to the park at night and stuff, and you'll see all these old Japanese people sitting around drinking sake and awamori and just hanging out, and you'll hear them speaking Okinawan. And I don't really understand Okinawan. I can pick up very, very few. I know all the dirty words. And like the wrong way to say things, like the non-polite way to say things in Uchinaguchi. But for the most part, to me, it just sounds like a foreign language. It's a beautiful language, but it's extremely foreign to me. It's sad, because it's such a part of Okinawan culture, and it's so, it's a beautiful language. It really, really is. I used to love when my grandparents' friends would come over, or cousins, and I would just hang out in the living room with them while they were talking, and then I would just like sit there and listen to them talk Okinawan, and it was like I didn't even understand what they were saying, but there's just like there's a warmth to it and a comfort to it that I love listening to, and it's always really sad for me to just realize that it's a dying language at this point. So yeah, my grandpa speaks it, but the language itself is definitely dying out. Cat. Never heard of those sayings before. Oh, the pop and penicillin with Bob Dylan. Yeah, there was like one person I think that commented and was like, oh yeah, I heard of that before. Nobody else has. Could it be that many of your friends haven't heard is because you were raised in Oki? When will you release the name of your brand to us? It might be. I don't know. I don't think it was like an Okinawan thing because I went to an international school where a lot of my friends were American. So I don't know why it got popular or how it got popular, but I remember it being popular. I don't necessarily think it was because it was an Okinawan thing though. Like I said, most of my friends were American who were saying it. And as far as the brand, so Matt and I have been working really hard. I spent probably like the last 3 or 4 days just designing and drawing because we're planning on launching the name of our new brand next Sunday, I believe, because we want to try to get everything launched and ready to go by October, or at least early October. So hopefully we'll get it all launched to then. I'm just having a really hard time because I'm designing all my shirts, and I bought this Wacom tablet, which is a drawing pad that connects to your computer. So I've been drawing a lot. I'm not a very good drawer, so a lot of my art is crap, but I've been spending a lot of time just kind of drawing and designing things, and so I've been using this Wacom tablet because Matt and I had our clothing brand twice. The first one would be called Ryukyu Rising and the other one was called Oki Pride. But a lot of the designs we made were very basic because we just kind of like photoshopped shapes and images together. But this time I figured I would actually test this time I actually decided that I was gonna invest in a drawing pad and actually like teach myself some drawing skills so that I can actually design some decent shirts. But because I'm not drawing is not my thing, it's been taking me a long time to even get like one design out. So we're getting there slowly but surely. So we should be releasing the designs and everything. At least we'll be talking about it we'll be announcing it on Sunday. on the Live in Okinawa group. Sorry, I have a burp coming. I'm kind of nervous about it though, because this time it's like actually my designs that I'm coming up from. A lot of them I'm like doing from scratch, so kind of nervous. But yeah, we'll be announcing it, I think, this Sunday, for sure. Judy, just curious about food prices in Okinawa. How much did your lunch cost? It all looks so good. It was delicious. If y'all ever get a chance to go to Otoya, I highly recommend it. That's where Matt and I stopped off in the Poppin' Penicillin with Bob Dylan video. I think in total, Matt and I probably spent, I think it was like 1,800 yen, which is about, you know, less than 20 bucks, which to us coming from California is actually really, really cheap, because anytime we went out to eat, it was like $17-18 per person, including tips. So cheap for us was anywhere between $10 to $12. That was a decent average meal cost for us in California. You pay $10 to $12 per person, and then you add like tip on top of it. So by the end of it, I was averagely paying maybe $15 to $18 anytime I went out to eat, which is a crazy amount of money. Cause so like if we can get away with paying less than $20 for both of us at a restaurant, to us that is phenomenal price. Obviously it's not going to beat any Southeast Asian prices, because when we were in Southeast Asia we could get like a good size meal for like $3 to $4. But coming from California to Japan, which is actually another good point that I wanted to mention, is like a lot of people who come to Okinawa, they're like, oh my gosh, the prices are so expensive here. And I always was like, is it though? But when you actually talk to people and you hear where they're from, and you realize a lot of them are from like the Midwestern, you know, like the Midwest, or like, you know, like more like Ohio or Iowa, or places where it's a lot cheaper cost of living, and they come here, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because coming from California, everything is so much cheaper here, from cars to rent. Obviously, actually, you know what, I'll take it back though. I think it is cheaper as a resident, because I think with military, a lot of times things get hiked up in prices, especially like rent and stuff. Like for us, we can get by finding a rental place from anywhere from $400 to $700 to $800 a month for like a 2-bedroom place. But for military people, oftentimes, because they get COLA, and you know, local real estate places know that, a lot of times their rental prices are like almost California prices, like $1,500 to $2,000 a month. All right, sorry about that. My phone didn't die. My memory on my phone, the memory on my phone got filled up, so I had to delete some old videos. But yeah, I was talking about food prices. So as far as the food prices go, I think for the two of us, we spent less than $20. I think total it was about 1,700 or 1,800 yen, which is about $17-18. For us, that's really, really cheap compared to what we were paying in California. But like I said, before my phone rudely interrupted, I do believe that the military does sometimes have to pay more, which is probably one of the reasons why people find it so expensive living here, because oftentimes locals take into consideration some of the housing allowances and stuff that military members receive. And so a lot of times prices does get hiked up for military people. So I will definitely acknowledge that. As far as for us, you know, for me and Matt being residents, like a lot of things are definitely cheaper than what we were paying California. So we love it here, especially financially. Like it's so much less stress than trying to like just keep your head above water for, you know, living California prices. Like California, like I love California. Well, I didn't like Sacramento, but I loved California in general. It's getting to a point now, though, that California, as great as it is, as beautiful as it is just not worth the price that you have to pay in order to live there. You know what I mean? Like it's getting pretty bad. When I was a real estate agent as well as a real estate photographer, most of the people that were listing their houses were moving out of state. Like they were all leaving California in droves. A lot of them were going to like Salt Lake City, Arizona, Idaho. There's a lot of people moving to Idaho because it's so much cheaper up there. That was a long-winded answer for a simple question. Yeah, sometimes I get on these rants, guys, and you can't stop me when I get on these rants. Second to last question. This is from Tim. Hi, Kit. Recently, you prepared some of your own food at work. Do you ever get to eat the food you prepare? Yes I can, but I don't. So the one thing about my workplace is it's a company that specializes in prepping for food for people who, well, let's just say a lot of their clientele is military members, and a lot of the military clientels are usually like bodybuilders or people who work out and stuff. So a lot of the meals that we make and prepare are geared towards like health food type stuff, you know, like basic chicken with some frozen vegetables and some rice. And so when I was working out heavily in California, like that was my go-to meal, was frozen vegetables, chicken, and brown rice. And I don't think I could honestly stomach any of that anymore. Like, I spent so much time eating it and making it myself back when I was living in the States and I was going to the gym a lot, that I can't stomach it. I can't eat another like frozen chicken, brown rice, like meal. I can't. It's because a lot of their clientele also are people who live in the barracks. So, you know, they have shared kitchen or they don't have kitchens at all. And so a lot of times, you know, they rely on those meals that are prepackaged for them because it's easy for them to eat and they don't have to think about food. For us, Matt and I, we can go anywhere in Okinawa and get really, really good food for really, really decent price. So like, I don't know. I don't really eat what we make. Not that it's bad. It's not bad by any means. It's just, it's not my type of food. For me, I walk down to the Family Mart nearby for lunch. The food's not bad. Let me just stress that. The food's not bad. I just personally do not eat brown rice, frozen vegetables, and chicken anymore. Next question is from Marvin Miyashiro. Two questions from Marvin today. Hello. So, since you used to live in NorCal, did you ever go to Glass Beach in Fort Bragg, Mendocino area? It was the same thing there. Used to be a dumping ground for lots of other stuff besides glass. So, no, I never did make it to Glass Beach, and it's one of the things that I wish I had done, because it was only about a 3-hour drive to Mendocino, and I really, really wanted to make that drive, but I never did. One of the things I do wish I did more when I was living in Sacramento was really just taking road trips to places. Like, one of the places I wanted to go so bad and never got a chance to go was the Grand Canyon. I mean, it was a 12-hour drive, but I love taking road trips, and I wish I made that one. I wish I drove down to LA more to visit my friend Blair, who lives down there. But Mendocino, yeah, 3 hours is, when you think about 3 hours in California or like states, that's actually not that far away. So I could have totally made that trip, but I just never did, and I really, really want to. I have a friend that's going there, I think, in 2 weeks, and I'm kind of jealous. I mean, I have a Glass Beach here, but that was like one of those places that I really, really wanted to go. So yeah, I kind of regret not going. One of the places that I am so glad that I went was Yosemite. Yosemite was about a 3-hour drive from where we were, and I can't tell you guys, Yosemite is probably the most beautiful place in this entire world. Yosemite is so gorgeous, especially when you like drive in and then you see the granite face wall of El Capitan, and you're just like, holy crap. And every time you drive by, like, you don't realize how big El Cap is even when you're there, until you like look really closely and see little dots of rock climbers on the wall, and you're like, holy crap, that's an average sized person on this like ginormous piece of rock. It's crazy. Yosemite, oh, Yosemite has my heart. I love that place. But that's not what we're talking about. Again, with the rants, we're talking about Glass Beach. No, I have never been there. I love how I go off on a tangent. I think that's it. That's all 6 questions. Thank you guys so much, as always, for asking all the questions. I love that. I love being able to connect with you guys this way. This is always so much fun. And as always, every week I'm gonna go ahead and thank all my Patreon supporters. Y'all are awesome. Yeah, I will be announcing the clothing line here pretty soon. I just need some time to get everything together, which should be within, like, that's all I'm doing today. Once I record this video and I do my exercises for the day, all I'm doing is putting my designs on a shirt and getting it ready to go. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys so much, and as always, remember to leave your comments down below, because I do look at them and I reply to them when I get a chance, and if I don't reply to them, I usually save it for this segment. So thank you guys so much. Love you guys. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace. Bye. Boop.